Hey, hello, this is Mr. Gunderson, and this is day one of distance learning. All right, welcome. Let's get going. We are starting of mice and men today. And if we go down to the folder, here it is. Um, Here's our of mice and men folder, and we're going to click on the folder here itself. All right, so um, first thing that you need to do is well, first off, here you're going to be working on this chapter from March 30th to April 3rd. So everything's kind of going to be due on this coming Friday, and we'll kind of go over the assignments here. First thing you should work on is the chapter 1 notes. You have one for first hour, you have one for sixth hour. If you click on it, this is a Nearpod assignment, and what will happen is it'll open up, and you'll put in your name. You don't have to do anything there. Join session, and it's a self-paced assignment, so you just click through it. There's 5 multiple choice questions embedded in there based on the notes, and you answer those questions and it records your score and all that good stuff for you. So do that first. Now, why I want you to do the notes first is because it's going to give you some background information before you actually start reading the chapter. Okay? Then you have a couple different ways of reading the chapter. You can do it this way. Here is the text, chapter 1 text, and then down here is chapter 1 guided reading questions. Open that up into Notability. There are 15 questions, multiple choice, based on the text. You upload the questions into the assignment box, and away you go. The other way that you can do it is if you want the chapter read to you and you have the text to follow along. Here is an Ed puzzle, chapter 1 text and guided reading, Ed puzzle. But you have to do this in the Ed puzzle. If you do it this way, you have to do it in Schoology. Okay? Do it in Schoology. I'm not checking Ed puzzle to see if you got it done. All I'm doing is checking it in Schoology. So you click on it, and it's going to be a little bit different because I'm the teacher, but here you're going to have the video. You press play, and you're going to have questions along there, and you follow along and listen to it. Question pops up, it's multiple choice, answer the question, and you go on. All right? Once you're all done with that, you've done the notes, you've done the reading, and then there'll be a quiz at the end of the week on that, on chapter 1. 20 points maybe, I don't know, something like that. So there's that. Now, one thing I do want to show you before we're done. Well, I'll leave that for a minute. Let me talk about what you have in store for chapter 1. So this is set. Every single one of the chapters in Of Mice and Men is its own scene. It takes place in one spot, and it doesn't leave there. It stays in that spot. All right. So for chapter 1, it starts off in the clearing. Okay. You meet George and Lenny, and you learn who those guys are. George is kind of a smart guy. Lenny, not very smart. He's slow. He's got some sort of mental disability. George takes care of Lenny, helps him out, but it's also Lenny is a drag on George, and you learn the dynamics between these two guys. A couple of things become very clear though in this chapter. Is number 1, George and Lenny are friends, and they're close friends, and they need each other, and they're different from everybody else because they are friends and that they are together. During this time, during the Great Depression, people were on their own. People were just trying to survive. They were just out there for themselves. George and Lenny have each other, which makes them different from everybody else. The second big thing that you get introduced into this chapter is this idea of the American dream. When this country was founded, it gave everybody the chance to go and achieve something. That's what, one of the big things that this country has always stood for is the American dream, to go out and have whatever that is. And everybody's American dream is different. Now, the Great Depression ripped that idea of the American dream away from people. Okay? George and Lenny are fighting, are scratching and clawing, try to get that American dream back. And their dream is to own their own little farm and be their own bosses and work for themselves instead of having to scratch and crawl and for just a little bit of money on these little jobs that they got. Anyway, every chapter, John Steinbeck spends a considerable amount of time introducing it, and he describes it, uses all kinds of description, and the five senses are big, and so pay attention to that. And so anyway, there's also a lot of foreshadowing that takes place in this chapter. They're going to talk about a bad thing that Lenny did at their previous job, and that's foreshadowing. This story is very much a tragedy, but I will also make the argument that it is very much a love story. And we'll more on that later. Okay? Last thing before I go is over here on this Analytics tab. Now I can click on that and I can see all of your names and faces. Look at you all there. Now, what this shows me is the last time you access Schoology, and then the last time that you access course materials. This is going to be very important as we go through this distance learning thing. All right, so I'm going to be looking at this and tracking you and seeing when you've last accessed Schoology and when you last were in course materials, and of course I'm going to be able to see when you've been turning things in and whatnot. So stay on top of it. I will be tracking you. All right. Anyway, enjoy chapter 1. We will be talking soon. Take care.